with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Hey, good morning on your Tuesday. I'm Mark Soliday. We're going to get to David's first warning forecast. Some very steamy temperatures in there, and we'll get to that in just a sec. First, though, we are following some breaking news from overnight as we get into your Tuesday. We're learning that the pilot whose fighter jet crashed out near Las Vegas, Nevada on Monday has died. That pilot was flying a contractor-operated aircraft supporting the Nellis Air Force Base when that crash happened. Shortly after that plane had taken off on Monday, still no official cause yet. The National Transportation Safety Board is heading up that ongoing investigation. But again, we have learned overnight that the pilot involved in that crash has died. Nevada's governor tweeting out that he and his wife are praying for all those involved. Well, a little closer to home, a new push out of Harrisburg to require people to at least look for work in order to keep collecting those unemployment benefits. Governor Tom Wolf's administration now says the state's work search requirement is coming back. It's going to be reinstated July 18th. And basically, it means people who want those unemployment benefits are going to have to prove that they were at least looking for a job the week prior. Now, they say a work registration requirement for Pennsylvanians will also resume. That's going to happen in September. Both of those measures waived by Governor Wolf because of the pandemic. Meantime, the governor's goal of having 70% of adult Pennsylvanians fully vaccinated against the COVID-19 coronavirus may be reachable in about 1 month's time. That 70% benchmark is when the governor had said he would lift what's left of the state's mask rules. According to the CDC's data, Pennsylvania has got more than 7 million adults with at least one dose of the COVID vaccine in their arm. And if everyone who currently has that single dose comes back for number 2, we would hit a vaccination rate of 69.5%. Now, all those people are scheduled for that second dose of the vaccine coming up by the last week of June. The nation's 2 biggest public school districts now say they will be reopening for in-person learning 5 days a week when the next academic year begins after the end of summer. While schools out in LA will still offer an online option for parents, New York City schools won't have that remote choice for families come September. They do say masks and social distancing, though, will still be required in those 2 districts. Not yet known, rather, if the vaccines will be available for kids under the age of 12 by then. Well, we certainly have been wearing masks for a while now, well over a year. But if you're fully vaccinated, the CDC did say recently that you don't need to wear one in most instances. But what should you do with all the masks that you may have gathered, accumulated over the past year or so? Our Molly Samora takes a closer look.
Seeing problems with wildlife becoming entangled or ingesting, and that's not good.
Executive Director Carol Holmgren from the Tamarack Wildlife Center tells me that's what can happen if you leave a mask behind. As people are starting to ditch the mask once they're fully vaccinated, she tells me it's so simple and easy, and to discard your mask like this.
Cutting those loops can make a difference, but I think the biggest thing, again, would be getting it disposed of so it doesn't become litter on the land where it's accessible to wildlife.
Besides mask littering being dangerous to wildlife, Holmgren tells me they've seen a 25% increase in the number of animals they're helping out, as more people are out enjoying nature and seeing wildlife in danger.
Both all through last year as well as continuing this year, very, very high rates of admission.
Well, all right, that's our Molly Samora reporting. Elsewhere on your Tuesday, jail time now ahead for former Erie City Council President Sonia Arrington. That's after a federal judge gave the 54-year-old somewhat of a break at her sentencing on fraud charges on Monday. The judge, though, still ordered Arrington to spend a full year behind bars, actually a full year plus 1 day. She had pled guilty to those fraud charges, accused of stealing more than $70,000 from that nonprofit she founded, Matt V, Mothers Against Teen Violence. Now, Arrington told the judge she had gambled most of that money away. The judge did listen to several community leaders, including Erie Bishop Dwayne Brock, asking for leniency in terms of Arrington's sentence, but the judge gave her a jail term in between what the prosecution wanted and what the defense was asking for. Arrington has also been ordered to undergo treatment for a gambling addiction. Jumped right into a monkey enclosure. The woman could be spotted feeding the monkeys in a video from the El Paso Zoo. Lots of attention being paid to this one. Now, apparently this woman fed the animal some sort of spicy chip before looking to take that picture. The zoo now trying to install cameras to modify the fencing around that exhibit to prevent similar sorts of close encounters with nature. That can be dangerous stuff. All right, David's got the details on those climbing temperatures. It doesn't take too long for things to heat up today.
Yeah, we're not monkeying around with this forecast as we look ahead through today. We've got those temperatures. Yeah, they'll be shooting up into the 80s. Right now, we are sitting at 79 degrees. It's a quick warm up. Notice our feel like temperature at 81. That's because our humidity is high enough. We're at 65 degrees on the dew point scale. I'll tell you exactly what that means in just one moment, but you can see Presque Isle right now. You may be sweating it out as you're going on your afternoon jog. Now the water certainly looks inviting, but it's still pretty chilly out there. During the afternoon, you can see 1, 2 o'clock, early afternoon. We'll be watching for that potential, maybe for an isolated shower or a thunderstorm. So that's really the best time frame for the lakeshore. Inland locations may see some a little bit later on. You can see temperatures into the 70s into Warren as well as Meadville. Feeling pretty nice out there into Bradford and Jamestown. Temperatures still in the 60s. But here's your dew point map right here. And you see a lot of numbers in the 60s. What does that exactly mean? Well, this is how the air feels to you. Whenever it's getting into the 60s, or dew points are getting into the 60s, there's more moisture in the air. So it feels more humid. It's definitely more noticeable overall. You may have gone outside this morning, just kind of felt the air a little bit. We haven't really had a whole lot of moisture in our air as of late, so the heat we had been dealing with was more of a dry heat, but now we're getting back into the mugginess that we often can see during the warmer time of the year. Right now we've got kind of a washed out sky. We do have some high clouds out there, and that may limit the sunshine a little bit, but it's still warm enough. Today we do have that chance for some storms, but tomorrow there's a higher risk of maybe some strong gusty winds up to about 60 miles per hour. We're talking about storms as we get into the afternoon. They could originate near the lakeshore and then spread farther inland during the day. So you can see this wide area under that slight risk. Again, this is for the day on Wednesday. And again, the main mode of severe weather that we would possibly be looking at is strong gusty winds. All right, right now we're seeing satellite kind of getting rid of some of those real thick clouds, but we certainly have more of those clouds developing. We've got a southwesterly flow, and so that's the reason why we'll look over into Ohio for a few of those showers to maybe spark over the next hour or so. Futurecast just showing us a couple of those areas of rain riding right along the lakeshore, more so inland as we get towards 3, 4 o'clock. Keep an eye on the time there. You can see by the time we're heading into the evening hours, it's an isolated mountain shower. Then we'll turn our attention to the day on Wednesday. A morning shower is possible, but you can see that cold front moving on through, and looks like, again, most of the activity will be away from the lake shore, and as you get the heating of the day, that energy goes into some of those storms, and that's the reason why we do have that potential for a few of those stronger storms as we hit the middle of the week. Then the air gets cooler, and we're following the stormy weather up with some much cooler weather overall. But for today, it is certainly going to be on the hot side. Low storm chances, but more of the showers and storms likely as we get into the middle of the week. Today, we'll keep our weather impact index at a 0, but tomorrow goes up to a 1. I'll have the extent of the cooler weather in the 7-day in just a moment.
First, though, we're learning who's set to play Willy Wonka in an upcoming Warner Brothers movie. Timothée Chalamet getting that call. It's an origin story in connection to Willy Wonka, showing how the chocolate maker basically got his start, detailing his younger years. Chalamet's representatives say he's going to actually sing and dance in this movie. You'll recall Johnny Depp took on that role of Willy Wonka back in 2005 version of the film, directed by Tim Burton. Gene Wilder famously launched that role back in 1971. The Willy Wonka character actually comes from a book by Roald Dahl, wrote the original screenplay for that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory as well. Also this morning, we're learning what kids really think about dinner time. It's all according to a new survey of kids ages 6 to 16. And breaking news, it found that pizza, burgers, and chicken nuggets are some of the most wanted meals for that age group. Almost half prefer mom's meal choice, believe it or not. Only 16%, they say, would opt for dad's choice for that dinner time option. Moms were also said to be the most creative in the kitchen, according to the kids in this survey. Dads, though, were more enthusiastic, and I suppose that counts for something. The research also found that if kids had their way, on average, they would eat at 5:48 p.m. every day and be able to choose how much of that food actually winds up on their plate. Set your clock, Dave. 5:48.
No, I go for 4:30. I go for the early bird special.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it done.
Yeah, and Lainey sometimes likes my food. It just depends on how picky she is that day. But Megan,
But are you eating hers?
definitely.
Is the question.
Megan is a lot more creative than me. That is for sure.
Yeah, I think dads have to kind of take a backseat to moms in that one.
Over the next couple of days, we're looking at some good grilling weather for today. It's going to be pretty hot out there, feeling like summertime for sure. We've got the storms, especially as we get into the afternoon on Wednesday. Again, we'll give you those weather model updates. And obviously, John Stalin, he's going to be in a little bit later. He'll update you on the forecast. But it looks like primarily as we get into the afternoon, that's when we could have a few of those stronger storms. Temperatures start to come on down. Another system brings us some more rain, but this time we're on the cooler side of it, so it looks to just be rain showers. We go through the weekend, temperatures are warming on up, and of course, we got Memorial Day on Monday. So yeah, the trend heading back up, but a little bit of an unseasonably cool stretch, at least over the second half of the week.
Thank you, David. 30 minutes of news headed your way at noon on WSEE. We're back on the air at 5 a.m. tomorrow for Erie News Now Sunrise, and we'll see you back here on Facebook Live about the same time tomorrow. I'm Mark Soliday. Have a great Tuesday.